Webster will not be seen tonight, but will return next week at 7:30. Now stay tuned for a 21 Alive Sports Special.
Good evening, I'm Greg Johans in Florida.
And I'm Dean Pantazzi in Arizona.
Tonight we're going to tell you what to expect from some of your favorite teams in baseball, including the Chicago White Sox, the Cubs, Cincinnati Reds, Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Indians, and the two teams that made it all the way to the World Series last year, the Mets and the Red Sox. First, the team that plays in the oldest ballpark in the majors, the Chicago White Sox. The Chicago White Sox have lots of room for improvement. The team finished 20 games out of first place last year, and it's obvious where the problem is. The Sox were last in the American League in batting average, runs scored, home runs, and RBIs. Of course, the Sox have some legitimate excuses. A few of their key players, Harold Baines, Carlton Fisk, and Greg Walker, were hampered by injuries, the most serious of which happened to Walker, a broken right hand, interrupting a year in which he was on a 100 RBI pace.
Well, it was extremely frustrating, not only personally, because I was really looking forward to a good year for myself, but it also was frustrating for the team because of all the stuff that was going on. I felt like that if I could have been out there and helped the team win some games on the field, that it would have taken care of a lot of the stuff that was going on off the field. But it didn't work out, and we're going to put that in the past and go on from here.
The Sox have shown some flashes of brilliance, but this spring has been much like last season. Few hits and even fewer runs. Can this team turn it around and put some runs across the plate?
I think we can. There's no doubt about that. We went from 1983 scoring almost 900 runs throughout the course of the year to last year where we scored the fewest runs in all the major leagues. But we obviously have to zero in on offensive situations. Everybody's going to have a role and execute within that role and be aware of those offensive situations.
Fisk will see much of his time this season as a designated hitter, platooning at catcher and outfield. He's coming off one of his worst seasons ever. Harold Baines remains as the team's only consistent all-star, a .296 average in 1986. He's hitting the ball solidly again. The Sox resident magician with the glove is Ozzie Guillen, who's constantly being compared with past White Sox shortstop greats.
You know, I like it a lot, but it's a lot of responsibility. You go over there and you say you play like Luis Aparicio or Luke Appling. That's a tough thing to do. I think it was the best shortstop I ever met, and really, I'm really proud about it. I like it, but it's tough when the people say that.
The pitching staff is a good one. The Sox had the third best ERA in the league last year. That despite a horrendous 5.4 earned run average by Richard Dotson. He's getting shelled in the spring as well. The Mets scoring 4 runs in 3 innings off of him. He hasn't been the same since shoulder surgery in 1985. But Floyd Bannister, Neil Allen, and others make this a tough team to score against. But where, oh where, will the runs come from? So the White Sox fortunes aren't that good, but hopes for the other Chicago team look brighter, right, Dean?
A little better, but not a whole heck of a lot. The 1987 Chicago Cubs, not that great a team. A lot of veterans, a lot of rookies, a big mix, and a lot of question marks. This is not a contender. This is another wait till next year.
The Chicago Cubs are a team in limbo. Lots of long-term contract veterans, lots of new young players, who, if they all mesh together with decent years, could bring shades of 1984. But that is not likely. This team needs too many things to be good.
Our top priority is to show up the pitching some. I've said that over and over, and it really is. Our defense needs to improve, and we have to get our pitching better than it was the last 2 years.
Add to that 2 open outfield spots, a backup infielder, and a catcher, and you see what I mean.
The Cubs will have a real different mix in personnel, some old, some new, and some newly acquired.
The major change brought in Andre Dawson, a premier right fielder and a guy who will lead by example with hitting and fielding.
Not the guy that jumps up and down in the dugout on a rah-rah type. I try and set an example on and off the field, and You know, what's expected of me is a tough question to answer right now. If I get in 150 or so ball games, I'm not worried about the numbers. All of that will take care of itself.
In left field, you can pencil in the name of rookie Rafael Palmeiro, and in center field, incumbent Bob Dernier is being pressed hard by Chico Walker. Another change, Keith Moreland at third. It's new, but not for Moreland.
Position I was drafted at. I thought I'd play in the big leagues there, but they had a guy named Mike Schmidt in Philadelphia, and then I came over here and they had Ron Say. So, you know, it's the first time I've really had the opportunity to go back to a position that I really feel like I can do the job and play.
The middle of the diamond, Sean Dunston and Ryan Sandberg are set. So is Bull Durham at first, and he's not making any bold predictions this time.
The last few years I've been predicting, and you know, I kind of put my foot in the mouth. But what I got to do is just go out here and just let my bat do the talking and not predict anything. Just let the, you know, show them what the type of talent that I have and let it go to work.
Jody Davis would like to catch only 130 games this year. Steve Christmas may give him his much-needed rest, which brings us to the pitching. It has to be better.
This staff, it wouldn't take a whole lot to improve this staff from what we had last year. I really don't know what the staff's going to be either. I think that's the biggest encouragement in the ball clubs. We've got some young people that are in a position to play in the major leagues now, and they're going to be pushing some people for a job. So I think overall our whole pitching staff's healthy, and they're more aggressive, and they're going at guys, and I think it's been a good spring so far.
Call this team a contender, and you can hear the snickers, but not from the Cubs.
None of us in this camp don't feel like that we have as good offensive team as there is in baseball. And if we can go out and our pitching staff's going to be better because we're going to be better defensively, we're a better baseball team than we have been in the last couple of years. And you know, you can talk about it all you want to, you still have to go do it.
If guys can get their act turned around and play the way they're capable of, well, we can do some exciting things.
The Cubs will be better, but they will still have a long way to go.
Up next, a look at the Detroit Tigers. Can they regain the magic of a few years ago? We'll be right back.
Dusting of the Diamond is brought to you by Fox & Fox Frame and Wheel Alignment, Summit Bank, Spies, and your Northeast Indiana Chevy dealers.
Nobody could touch the Detroit Tigers 3 seasons ago, winning the World Series, going away. That special magic hasn't returned since, even though most of the same players are back. It's not easy being in the American League East. 5 of the 7 teams had winning records last season. The Tigers were consistent again, winning 87 games, but finishing 8.5 behind Boston. It seems all first-place teams have a common ingredient.
You know, when you win, things go right at the right time, and you get those few breaks that keep momentum going and some streaks going. And you know, in our division, it'd be a nice luxury to say that if you finished ahead of one team, you were pretty sure to win the division. But you know, with 5 or 6, 7 ball clubs in our division, they're as good as they are. You know, you play 500 for 2 weeks, and you probably lost 3 or 4 or 5 ball games to a couple of teams. So
the team's biggest loss in the offseason is catcher Lance Parrish, going the free agent route to Philadelphia. Can the Tigers replace his offensive punch?
No, we couldn't ask anybody to do more. You know, we have what we have, and we'll just change our style. We're going to change our style a little. We'll do a lot more running and a lot more hitting and running. We'll move people a lot more. And we won't play as much of a stationary game as we had with him.
Parrish's loss opens up the spot behind the plate where Orlando Mercado and Dwight Lowry will probably share. The Tigers had one of the league's best fielding percentages last season. The infield's back with Lou Whitaker making that great play. Alan Trammell, Darrell Evans, and Darnell Coles, all 4 of which hit 20 homers last year.
I think so. I think it's one of the best infields in baseball, especially with Tram and Lou played together for 10 years. And I'm hoping that for myself, I'm there for the next 10 to 12 years, too.
Larry Herndon's been having a good spring. He drills this one out of the park. He, Kirk Gibson, and Chet Lemon will once again patrol the Tiger outfield. Jack Morris, who won his $1.85 million arbitration case, is coming off another 20-win season. He joins Frank Tanana, Dan Petrie, Willie Hernandez, and others on the strongest part of the team.
Pitching. You know, we have to pitch. If we don't pitch, we can't be in this. If we pitch, we can be in it.
In the past, when you wanted to find the Cleveland Indians, all you had to do was look at the bottom of the American League East, the toughest division in baseball. Well, that's not the case either way this year. The American League East isn't that tough, and the Cleveland Indians are much better. That means a move up in the standings.
Well, we've had our ups and downs, mostly downs, but they're starting to come now, and the talent's starting to come out.
And Pat Corrales appears right on with that statement. His 1986 Indians finished over 500 for only the 5th year in the past 20. And just their offensive might indicates even more success. This club can score. They led the majors in hitting, scoring, hits, and RBIs. 4 starters were 300 hitters. It is quite a group. Brooks Jacoby, 288 at third. Julio Franco, 306 at short. Tony Bernazard, 301 at second. Joe Carter, 301, 29 homers, 121 ribbies at first. An outfield with just as impressive stats and solid catching. These guys can't miss.
If the Cleveland Indians have any problems this year, it won't be hitting. They had 284 as a team last year and should be even better this year. The problem might be pitching, middle and late relief.
The starters are there. Ken Schramm won 14 and was an all-star. Phil Niekro won 11. He may never quit. Rookies like Greg Swindell are just a little more polished now, and Ernie Camacho can finish. But in the middle, there is the Tribe's Achilles heel.
If we got the 6th or 7th inning with the lead, we usually held it. But if my starter got knocked out in the 2nd or 3rd inning, the middle relief usually gave up more runs than we weren't able to catch.
The pitchers feel they can do even better than last year, and they were improved then.
We know each other a little bit better than we did last year. I think it can improve a lot. I know personally, I made a lot of mistakes that I'm going to try to, cover up this year and not make the same ones again. And I think most of the guys on the staff feel the same way.
What we want to do is, like I say, go out and have the pitchers realize that, they got to keep the other team under 4 runs. 4 runs or under, and they got a chance of winning 8 out of 10 ball games.
If all this is true, can it be a contender on Lake Erie?
It's very realistic. We're not going to sell ourselves short, and we feel that we have the capability and the talent to go out there and win it. We're going to make it. It's going to be a dogfight from day 1 to the end of the season, and we're going to go out there and play the best that we can. And if we do that, then I think we'll all be satisfied in the end.
Nobody is laughing at the Indians anymore. The trend is upward, and this year should bring more of the same.
Next, a look at the other Ohio team. After finishing in 2nd place 2 years in a row, the Cincinnati Reds are tired of being the bridesmaid, and this time think they'll go to the altar. The Reds won 12 of their last 15 games at the end of last season, but still couldn't pick up any ground on the division-winning Houston Astros. This year, almost every national publication and media see it the other way around and pick the Reds to win the National League West.
I think all the good things that are being wrote about the players are justified because of the way they played in '86 and the way they played in '85. And if people keep saying good things about you, eventually you'll believe it yourself. And if you believe it yourself, then you'll just play like you're supposed to and start playing like a champion. You have to believe you're a champion before you become a champion.
Dave Parker returns for his 14th season in the majors. For him in '86, another ho-hum year. He got his 30 homers and 115 RBIs. He's the heart and soul of this team, the main offensive threat. Parker doesn't fit the normal baseball player mold. At 35 years old, he's supposed to be in the declining years of his career. Yet Parker is getting even better, stronger. He has an advantage that players 20 years ago were without.
A lot of guys years ago was always afraid of lifting weights because they figured that it would cut back on their flexibility and restrict them from hitting the pitch inside. But now that this thing with knotless and they have a new thing called a Kaiser machine I work with, it enables you to get a full range of motion plus build.
First baseman Nick Asaski was hitting the ball well before he was hit by a pitch on March 16th, breaking his wrist. He'll be out of action until mid to late April. This is unquestionably the rising young star on the team. Eric Davis's triple to dead center field is typical of his style of play, power and speed. He draws high praise from those who aren't used to giving it out.
Well, he has as much talent as, probably more talent than anybody in the league, as far as things that he can do at his age. And I wasn't around here when Clemente was a kid or when Mays or Aaron were boys, but and I wasn't evaluating talent, but I am evaluating talent now, and I can't imagine they had any more talent than Eric Davis. And I guess the best way to describe him is he's the only one in the league that can legitimately hit 4th and lead the league in stolen bases.
The earliest that Rose can play is May 15th, but he hasn't been taking batting practice and may not play again.
I'll be ready right around May 15th, and hopefully I won't be needed because if I'm needed, that means the guys on the bench aren't doing the job or the guy playing isn't doing the job, and or someone got hurt, needs to be put on a disabled list, and we don't want that to happen because when we go north with 24 guys, we want those 24 guys to have great years so we can win the thing.
The Reds pitching staff returns the likes of Tom Browning here, Bill Gullickson, Ted Power, and others, each with an ERA of about 3.5 last year. Mario Soto is working hard after shoulder surgery, and hopes are high for his comeback. So the pieces are there in '87, but can the Reds put them together?
When a guy reaches the age of 48, you don't expect him to still be active in a major league uniform. But that man on the hill is, and probably will be for a couple of more years to come. He's Phil Niekro, the ancient knuckleballer of the Cleveland Indians.
He has won 311 ball games in spite of not making the majors for a full year until he was 28. But then he won 268 games for the Braves. They cut him loose at age 44. He went to the Yankees, won 32 more in 2 years. They cut him loose at 46. He went to Cleveland and won 11 more. And Niekro's manager says he should have won more than that.
He should have had about 15 victories for us last year, and the bullpen let him down at times, and defense at other times. But he very easily could have won 15 games for us.
Counting on him for quite a few this year.
Definitely. And he fit right in the middle of our starting rotation.
Well, I pitched 2 innings last year. I'll get my 2 innings in. As far as wins and losses, I don't know. I can answer that question when the season is over, but I'm like anyone else. You hope to stay free of arm problems and injuries, and God get you 2 innings in and try and complete every game you can. Hope your team scores more runs than the other one.
Except for the 81 strike year, Phil Niekro has never pitched less than 200 innings. 4 times he's gone over 300 innings, and he still gets people out. But training in Arizona is a slower process. No moisture, harder to get the knuckler under control, and he's had a slow spring. But he'll be ready by opening day. And in no way when he started did Phil Niekro figure to be pitching as he approached 50.
No way. That's 27, 28 years now in professional baseball. I was excited to get to Milwaukee for a week at one time. Hoping I could stay there on a day-by-day basis, and things just fell into place. And I've just been very fortunate. I haven't had any injuries throughout my career, and that's been my success.
I don't even mess with his age as long as he can get people out.
That indicates there's still a future for Phil Niekro. But how long can this teasing of the clock go on?
I've been saying for the last 6 or 7 years the same thing. I don't know. I'm on a 1-year contract. I'm feeling good physically. Mentally, I still enjoy the game. It's just a matter if I go out and get them out. If I do and I have a good year, then I'll play again next year. It's usually the other guy, the guy who pays the paychecks every 2 weeks, determines where you're going to play next year.
And as long as he gets them out, Phil Niekro can count on a paycheck. Don't bet on him not making 50 and still being active.
Up next, a look at last year's pennant winners a year later and who we think will be this year's winners. Last October's World Series was exciting. The New York Mets out-dueling the Boston Red Sox for the World Championship. But that's ancient history. What about now?
The Mets will start this season without Dwight Gooden, who's indefinitely on the disabled list while undergoing counseling for a drug problem. Relief ace Roger McDowell is also out, recovering from hernia surgery, but that still leaves the team with a strong pitching staff led by Bob Ojeda. This is a powerful squad. Gary Carter is still swinging well, hoping to collect another 100 RBIs. You've got a steady 300 hitter in Keith Hernandez, who drills a double here. He also won his 9th straight Gold Glove Award at first base. Lenny Dykstra and Mookie Wilson play good, steady ball. And then there's the lanky Darryl Strawberry, who has great power and offers good analysis of what it takes to repeat.
Being hungry, coming to the ballpark every day, ready to play like you did last year. If you can win it, if you can go out and win it every year, that's what you go out there to do. And you don't go out there and say, well, we won it last year and we don't have to win it this year. That's not true. We got to have a positive attitude about it, and we got to think that we can go out there and win it again.
I just feel that this team, we feel that we had a great year last year, and we know we can be better. And I think this is the kind of year where we feel like we should go all the way, and hopefully we will.
Barrett had a great 1986. He was the MVP in the American League Championship Series. He shares the right side of the infield with Bill Buckner, who had a courageous World Series, limping on a very bad ankle. He had surgery in the off-season.
Well, I think mostly just running the bases. I think I can handle the rest of it. It doesn't bother me hitting or fielding too much, and right now it's just getting around the bases.
And at third base, a man who's breaking records every season he plays, Wade Boggs. Last year, he led the majors in hitting with a .357 average, and he's doing the same in spring training. In 5 years with the Red Sox, he holds an average of .352. He has his own methods for success.
Day in and day out. Don't go through any periods of too many valleys, and stay out of the valleys. Don't form too many peaks. Just stay on an even keel day, take it one day at a time.
Boston has plenty of power in veterans Jim Rice and Dwight Evans, who doubles down the left field line here. Evans is back in right field, a spot where he's won 8 Gold Glove awards. Boston has one of the best pitching staffs in baseball, led by Cy Young and MVP award winner Roger Clemens, who has not signed yet. Boston is hopeful that he will soon. Along with Clemens, Bruce Hurst, and others, there's the fiery oil can Boyd, who's throwing hard and well in spring training. Both the Mets and the Red Sox have the nucleus of their championship teams back. Their fortunes will unfold over the course of the long 162-game schedule.
No show like this could end without some predictions. Dean, you go first.
Thanks a lot, chicken. Well, here goes.
In the National League East, it's the Mets again. They may be better than last year. In the West, it's the Reds. No crummy start this time around. American League, the East will go to Cleveland. That much hitting, pitching may not matter. And in the West, Oakland, that blend of veterans and young players looks like a winning combination.
We agree on the National League predictions. I like the Mets as well. In fact, I think they're going to win the World Series. And in the West, the Reds will get that long-awaited title. In the American League East, I like the New York Yankees with the best power hitters in the majors. And in the West, Kansas City will come back after an off year for both their hitters and pitchers.
Who's right? Oh, we won't know for sure until October, but that's one of the joys of this sport. Being a fan, rooting for a team, watching its ups and downs, predicting its future. And it all starts on Monday. Thanks for joining us. Good night.